Hello and welcome back. Thanks for joining me. If you are new, this is the review of our first book that we're reading, The Confidence Code, and all of the details can be found on my website, wellreadsoiree.com, along with a grouping of every book and the videos associated with it and our upcoming reads. To get this video started, what I'd like to do is give you my thoughts on the book and go through each chapter and just really point out specific things that really stood out to me. So without further ado, let's get started. So chapter 1 is called It's Not Enough to Be Good. This chapter really puts things into perspective. The authors, Katie Kay and Claire Shipman, they interview really successful women. Two that really stood out to me were two basketball players, and they were in the WNBA, and even though they're the creme de la creme, they still struggle with confidence. Even other powerful women, they're also struggle on the day-to-day. It's not just me. I always thought it was just me that questioned my ability or questioned if I was good enough. Chapter 2 is Do More, Think Less. What I got from this was the actual meaning of confidence. General confidence is an attitude, a way you approach the world. More specifically, self-confidence is a sense that you can master something. It's easier to keep going if you're optimistic about the outcome. If you have self-efficacy in one area and use it, you will create more general confidence. If you have high self-esteem and believe you are intrinsically valuable, you won't assume your boss thinks you're not worthy of a raise. And if you fail, self-compassion will give you the chance not to berate yourself, but to take your failure more lightly. So that uses all of the confidence helpers or the keywords that go along with confidence. And to close up chapter 2, this is also where those little quizzes come into play, and they're actually really fun to take. Now we move into chapter 3, Wired for Confidence. So from this chapter, I got how hormones work in the brain. As we are born a certain way, we can rewire our brains. So I didn't highlight much. This just really goes into the different hormones and how they play a role in your brain. All of us can rewire our brains, even as adults. When we change our thinking and develop new mental habits, that effort creates physical changes in our brains. Moving on to chapter 4, Dumb, Ugly Bitches and Other Reasons Women Have Less Confidence. Women ruminate, we stew, we want to get everything right, we want to please and be liked. Rumination is definitely the killer of all killers for me. I can think about something for days, weeks, months, hours, and not that we have to be compared to men, but men don't do that, and neither do we. That is another thing that is on the top of my list of working on along with meditation. And I was actually quite pleased to read that the female brain is more active in almost all areas than male brains. The activity in these regions probably indicates female strengths, including empathy, intuition, collaboration, self-control, and appropriate worry. But women are also more vulnerable to anxiety, depression, insomnia, pain, and being able to turn off our thoughts. If you can't turn off your thoughts, raise your hand. That's me. Women tend to use both hemispheres of our brain more regularly than men do. Combining the left side, home of mathematical and logical skills, and the right side, we are artistic, and where our artistic and emotional skills reside. So basically, if I'm reading this correctly, we're smarter than men, so why not? Why can't we rise to the top? Why can't we be more confident? Why can't we do more? Our highly integrated brain means we can take in large amounts of data and process it quickly. That is what I'm talking about. Chapter 5, The New Nurture. So what I got from this chapter is, even though you were born with predisposed genes, you can change your confidence, but it takes work. It's very motivational, and this really outlines how to do it. So I'll start with this. You're not born with it, you build and you build. I build that confidence myself. Confidence, at least the part that's not in our genes, requires hard work, substantial risk, determined persistence, and sometimes bitter failure. Gaining confidence means getting outside your comfort zone, experiencing setbacks, and with determination, picking yourself back up again. Genuinely confident women, perhaps genuinely confident people, don't feel that they have to hide anything. They are brave enough to not only be different, but to be themselves. People who base their self-worth and self-confidence on what others think of them don't just pay a mental price, they pay a physical price too. We're on to chapter 6, failing fast and other confidence boosting habits. So what I got from this chapter is how to banish negative thoughts, the power of positive thinking, and confidence building tips. So they always really enforce action, 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 and this quote really just sums it up. Confidence, as we've said at least 50 times by now, and there are a few more instances to come, is about action. It also takes repeated attempts, calculated risks, and changing the way you think. If you remember one thing from this book, let it be this: when in doubt, act. So if you're ever thinking, should I do that? Should I ask for that raise? Or should I post that video on YouTube? Or should I start a YouTube channel? Just do it. And it also talks about failing fast. If you just do, just know you're not always going to be successful. You're going to fail, and it's better to fail fast because it says here, you do it, you learn, and you move on. Don't let it bother you. Just let it go. And also, I highlighted almost all of this page because there is a great exercise on this page. It is page 146. I am not going to go over it because I think that all of you should turn to this page and you will know exactly what I'm thinking. And make sure you read it out loud. Do not read it to yourself. Read it out loud because it just hits home. Then we go on to negative thoughts, and I really liked where it said, what does it say here? It says, if you have a negative thought, write it down, rip it up, and toss it. It's just profound the effect it has on you. I have not tried that, but I am going to try it today because after reading that, I went on to do negative self-talk inside my head, and I didn't even realize it until I was talking about it with someone, and it hit me, you just did what that book said. So I plan to take those thoughts today, write them down, and rip it up. Now here's a big one that I think is really important for especially women, and I think that this quote is just perfect, and I'm going to ingrain this on my head because I'm guilty too. Realize other people aren't actually thinking about you all the time. It's all too easy to think that whatever you have done, whether it's a triumph or a failure, is the focus of everyone else's attention. It isn't. Most people are too busy getting on with their own lives to worry about what you're up to. Do you ever think like, oh, this person is mad at me because of this, or is she thinking this about me because I said it this way but I didn't mean it this way? The list goes on, and just realizing people aren't thinking about you. I mean, think about yourself. Do you sit and think about what someone else said 4 or 5 weeks ago? Probably not. So that's another quote that I'm definitely ingraining in my brain and writing everywhere because I always am worried about what other people in life are thinking. Another, say it with confidence, because if you don't sound confident, will anybody believe what you say? This goes into when you answer a question like, what is the capital of California? And you say Sacramento? It's like a question, and it's like, no, say it with conviction. It's Sacramento, you know it, so say it with confidence. And then we go into the little micro confidence, the do's and don'ts. So it says to meditate, we went over that, be grateful, start each day with gratitude. That's a great thing to just cover it all. Think small. Battle feelings of being overwhelmed by breaking it down. Teasing out the individual parts of a challenge and accomplishing even 1/10 of it can give you a confidence boost. Sleep, move, and share in any order. Practice power positions, so sit up straight, hold your head high, uncross your legs, sit like a man. Just try power moves that make you feel strong and confident. Here's a don't. Don't fake it because it doesn't come off as genuine. Don't pretend to be anything or anyone. Simply take action. Do one small brave thing and then the next will be easier, and soon confidence will flow. Now we're going to chapter 7. This chapter was interesting but not as much of an interest to me. What it went over was the difference between Western and Eastern cultures as far as education. That part's interesting. And then it's how to instill confidence in your children, especially your daughters. And the majority of this goes over confidence for children. And I don't have children, and that's not really in my picture for the next 5 to 7 years. Now we are on the last chapter, the science and the art. This chapter, what I got from it was confidence in its truest form is authentic. You cannot just simply mimic someone else's style or act it out. We're born a certain way, but it does not dictate our lives. And everyone has their own style of confidence. It's not cookie cutter. Confidence for many of us can even be quiet. Untapped power in learning to express our vulnerability, and that for many, doing so can lead to more confidence. Expressing some vulnerability can be a strength, especially when it connects you with others. Dwelling on insecurities and basking in self-doubt is not. We have to be heard, and we have to act if we want to lead. We need to start trusting our gut. Dare the difference that we like. You have to be savvy about it, but you also, in a sense, have to be confident about the difference. The book closes with talking about the WNBA basketball players and about how they're watching a game and one of the women misses a shot and it was sort of a letdown, but then she rebounds another ball, brings the shot back and makes it. And it says, "It looks easy now, but we know and she knows how she got there. The hours of practice that went into that shot and into creating that state of mind and action." So it's not natural and it takes work, and it just leaves that lasting impression for me that if you want to do it, you have to do it. And it's not just gonna come to you. That is my thoughts for the confidence code, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video where I introduce our next book.